Taper. We're finally there. 2.5 weeks or so to the Tire 200. But I thought I'd do a little video clip on tapering and what it is and what are we trying to achieve. Because there's so many people that will talk about tapering, but nobody really sits down and explains to you exactly what tapering is all about. So let's have a look at the actual objective of tapering. Tapering is trying to get your body from what has been a really hard block session or last couple of months of training session into a state where it could be at its best possible state for the race. So regardless of the distance that you're doing, by my opinion on being able to do that the very best way is understanding what block training is, and then understanding how you need to change it for tapering. Now I know there's a few different ideas and theories on how to taper, but the only one that makes sense to me and the only one that's ever worked is block training is anything more than 3 to 4 days in a row of training, which most training plans are based around. And what you're trying to achieve there is obviously to try and run on tired legs and try and create stamina and strength within your legs. So my then common sense is when tapering and trying to have your legs recover is have a day off in between each training day. So my normal week is maybe a 5 or 6 day training week. When I'm tapering, I taper on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and maybe a Saturday or a Sunday, one of the 2 days on the weekend. Now it's not always possible, and I mean now with us going to Canada for a wedding, I'm going to have to fit it in where I can. But that's really the theory behind it. So every day you go out and run, and the next day you get a rest day. This is twofold because taper, everybody talks about legs and recovery and muscles and all these kinds of things. And for me, and especially for when you're running the really long stuff for endurance, but even on the shorter runs, when I've had to try and run a hard 10K or a half marathon, the mental and emotional side of running is something that's seldom talked about, but yet it's a massive part of running. And so in the 3 weeks of taper, by having a day off in between each running session, you're able to just recover. It doesn't feel like, and I know it's not always like that, but maybe at the end of each person's training session you kind of feel, do I have to get up and go out and train today? You're feeling a little tired, the body feels a bit tired. I even get sometimes a little bit of sniffle nose, which is an overtraining symptom that I've picked up over the years that I realize I may be overcooking it a bit. But so that day off in between just lets you emotionally recover and mentally recover. And when you're running a hard 10K and you got 2K to go and you're thinking, I'm running so hard, am I going to get there? It's that little voice in the back of your head that says, I know you can do it, come on, grit your teeth, get through this. Very same with 200 miles or 100 miles. You fall apart and you think, and the only thing that's driving you is your brain, it's not your legs. Your legs by then are at 100% output, there's nothing more they can do, they're the ones screaming. So it's seldom talked about, but I mean that is incredibly important, that in these 3 weeks you're able to get your mental strength back and your emotional strength. Running is tough. It's supposed to be tough. If it wasn't tough, everybody could do it. It's one of my favorite sayings. If it doesn't hurt, you're not doing it properly. So, from that point of view, that's what I try and achieve in the taper. In the 3 weeks, I try and have a day off in between each running day. My legs will recover, and my emotional and mental strength will recover. Another thing I like to do is the first weekend to celebrate, like we've just come off of this weekend, is go out there and celebrate. Have a braai or barbecue and have a few beers and have a burger or whatever it is that you've been kind of cutting back on to lose the weight. It's important to celebrate the start of a taper. It's been seven months of hard training. And in 3 weeks' time, you're going to start having these little self-doubts. Maybe I haven't done enough miles. That celebration is a pivotal point to say that you've done the miles. So in 3 weeks' time, when I look back, I know, well, that's it. That was the day I celebrated that I've done the miles, and all I need to do from here on in the next 3 weeks is just have an hour a week session where my heart is moderate. That'll maintain the fitness. Because the questions you always get and the things people always ask is, oh, I'm undertrained, I haven't done enough mileage, can I catch it up in the last 3 weeks? No, you can't. You can't. It'll perhaps help for a future date race, but there's no way it's going to help for this particular race. If anything, you're just doing damage, and once again, you're putting yourself under the emotional and mental strain that you don't need. Another question that people often say is, won't I lose fitness? if you sat on the couch for the 3 weeks, you will lose fitness. But I think even so, I don't think you can lose more than about, from what I've read, 10 to 15% fitness within the 3 weeks. And when you're running a long race like 200 miles, I guarantee you by 50 kilometers into it, you would have got the fitness back. So, you know, a moderate run once a week is important. When I say moderate, I'm not saying going out there for a PB. I'm saying just getting your heart rate out there, maybe doing a little bit of a tempo for 2 or 3 kilometers of your 10k run, or 1 or 2 kilometers of your 5k run. The other thing is, and that's also vitally important, people running personal bests in their tapering. It's ridiculous. You know, you're supposed to be out there just really turning over the legs, just getting the blood flow, keeping the rhythm. What I like to do is when I'm out running, I run routes that I run often, so that I don't have to think about where I'm running. I just think about the race that's coming up and try and envisage myself running the race, and especially the finish line. What it's going to feel like, what I need in the race, what I need to pack in, you know, what I need to plan for. Do I need extra shoes? Do I need these kinds of things? So those are the tips that I try and do, and I hope that'll obviously help you guys when it comes to tapering. The do's obviously is try and have a day's break between each run in your tapering session. Celebrate the fact that you're going into tapering, and then trusting in that last week, trusting that you've done the miles, because I promise you, whether you have or haven't done the miles, it's not going to make a difference. You just got to have to trust it and go through the process. Don't go out there running PBs. Don't go out there eating everything you possibly can and put it on all the weight that you've lost. And yeah, just, you know, at the end of the day, enjoy the process. All right, guys. For me, that's enough for today, and we'll chat later in the week. Thanks. Cheers, bye.